Welcome. So in this video, we'll go over how to access uh, the details of a family and edit these details and edit. Uh, we'll take a wall as an example and edit the details, which for the wall, the details are layers and sweeps and reveals, and we'll see how this impacts the appearance of the wall. So we'll start with creating a new project, and we'll pick the architectural template and create this project with the levels. So we go, currently we're at level 1. Let's pick a wall here, create an architectural wall. But then let's pick here brick on metal studs, this one. And then just make it up to level, top constraint here, level 2. And then just draw any random wall here, just one wall. And once I draw it, there's no much detail shown, but I can zoom in here and then show a medium level of detail or higher, but medium is enough for our case. So I can see here the layers of what makes up this wall, and we'll see what exactly are these layers. Some of you will have a different view, which is thick lines. So for my case here, I was turning it off. So it's up to you if you want to show the thick line that marges the exterior of the wall versus the interior layers of the wall. So I'll just turn it off. And then now it's time to edit the family. So I will or check the details of this family. So I will go to edit type. And you'll see a lot of here parameters or attributes. So we'll start with the analytical properties. And in the analytical properties, it shows here the thermal heat transfer. Uh, so it's used for analysis that are done based on the BIM model. And then there is identity data. So when you deal with equipments and you need to record the manufacturer information, this is where you do that. And also you can see here, this is the code, the assembly code, which follows the uniformat breakdown of the building scope. Um, so these are the analytical and identity data. And then most of the work we will do in this video is part of the construction parameters, or actually specifically the structure. So if I click edit structures and try to maximize that a little, and now it shows you here the different levels or several layers, starting from the exterior side of the wall. And you can see here the exterior side of the walls, it's basically the outside air, and then you have a finish layer made of brick, and then there's a thermal air layer, and then there's a membrane layer, substrate, and then there's the core, the structural core, and then there is inside the building now, there is a membrane layer, vapor retarder, and then there's a finish layer, which is gypsum board. You can see every layer has a thickness, and you'll get an error if you have 0 thicknesses for any layer, except for the membrane layer, which is basically a sheet. So you don't have Revit recognizes that you don't have to have a thickness for that. So just a paper sheet. So you're skipping the thickness for this. You're not getting an error if I set a 0. But let's say I set 0 in this case here. Here you go. So only layers with function set to membrane. This one. So I will go back and make it as the image. Every layer has a function, and you can see here there is structural function, thermal, finish, and membrane. Membrane is for moisture, and thermal is for temperature, barriers and insulation. So these are the default. You have to, when you put the layers, and typically most of the layers fall within these categories. The numbers here are used by Revit to mark the layers of connecting walls. So they will connect the structure one layer to structure one layer and the other wall intersecting with it. So it's helpful for Revit to handle intersections between walls. So we're going back to the properties, the type properties of this wall, and then this is a built-in family type. So I will duplicate it so we can start messing up with it. And I will call this one here uh, metal stud, and I will call it 8-inch, in this case, stud, and with looping. So that's the name of the duplicate family. And then I will go into uh, the edit window, and then in the structure part of the middle stud, it's currently 6-inch, and I want it to be 8-inch. And then this is the first part of the change that I'm making in this wall. The other one is I want to have a paint layer inside uh, or the interior side of the wall, which happens here. So I will insert a layer, and currently it's not the last or the inward layer of the wall yet, so I have to move it down. And this one here has to be the last finish layer in the wall, which should be finished too. But this gypsum board currently or previously was the last finish, so I will make this actually finish one. So that will be the paint layer, finish two. And I will call this, or now it's time to pick a material for it. So I will select the material for this. And I will call, or I will search for paint. And looking at here, there is just uploading the images here. So I can pick paint for anything here, uh, but for us, for what we see here, it's like installation. It's not real paint, proofing, framing. But the closest one here is the parking stripe. So I'll pick the parking stripe. Also, don't mess the existing types and families and materials. So I will duplicate this, and I will call it blue paint. Keep this a little bigger. So now I duplicated the material, called it blue paint. Uh, the next thing is I need to change the color to blue. So I'll pick this color here. And there are other information about how the patterns and other things that will affect the look of this paint. And then I will say apply, okay. And then if I click OK, so you'll see an error. Again, the 0 thickness only applies to the membrane. So for this case here, I'll apply just a small thickness, so just 1/8. Right, and then I will say OK. OK. And then to see the change that happened, I can go to 3D. And currently just the detail level, or actually I need to show the shaded view. So this is the exterior, it's this brick, and then the interior is the blue paint that I made, right? So that's the kind of effect of changing the layers in a wall, which layers is a big important detail of a wall, and in any other element for their family types, there are also some details that you can also change and edit. So let's go back to uh, selecting the wall and editing its type. And now we'll see uh, the some other elements or details that I can add to the family type. So if I am now in the edit assembly structure, so here, and I can show a preview of what I'm gonna change in terms of the details of that family. So one thing I want to highlight here is the wrapping. So I can wrap at the ends, meaning that if this wall actually kind of is not connected at the end with any wall, so what happens here? What happens at the edge? Do I see the layers exactly like I was seeing it in the cross section, or do I wrap any one of the layers at this end? So I can wrap the exterior. So basically, this brick will wrap at the ends of the wall, or I can wrap the interior, which wrapping the gypsum and the painting like this. So that's a detail that you can control. If you don't have like a boxed room, you have actually flanged walls kicking out of it with no walls connected, other walls connected to the end. But for now, I'll keep it none. Similar thing, you can do the wrapping similar that you did the edges of the wall. You can do similar when you have inserts. So currently, it's not showing anything I'm doing here because there are no, like, in the details, not showing like a door or a window you're inserting. So this is for the wall wrapping. This is another detail you can control. The other thing is the reveals and sweeps. So currently, this section here. So currently it's not showing because the view of that preview that I'm picking is the floor plan. So it only shows this options here shows if you select the section and you see that they highlighted. So I'm currently looking at a vertical section through the wall. So this is the wall height. Previously, that was the wall length. So it's a plan top view. This is a vertical cross section view. What we'll kind of play with here is the first one is the sweep. So sweeps are elements that you will run along the length of the wall. So I will click on sweeps and then add. And there are different options for the profiles, the quality of profiles. So it's basically the cross section of that sweep that you will run along the wall. So I can pick a cap for the wall or cell or so different options. These are built in. So for our case here, I will pick 5-inch uh, precast cell, this one, and I will make the distance here from the base to be 3 feet. And if I say apply, and you can see here, I'm not sure if you see it in the video, but there are little precast cell happens at 3 feet from the base. So that's the, the sweep. If I want to say OK, then OK. All right, and then you can see this is the sweep that I created. This is the cell, precast cell. Now going back, then I would like to add another sweep, which is imagine this is a parapet wall, so you need to have a cap, kind of the architectural decorative cap at the top. So I'll add another sweep. And in this case, I'll pick the 20-inch wide precast uh, parapet cap. And in this case here, I will place it not at the base, I will place it at the top. I'll say OK, and this is where it will be placed. So this is for sweeps. It's just you need to pick a profile or a cross section that will run along the wall. We added these two sweeps. The other thing here is the reveals. So reveals is like creating a groove in the wall for, again, decorative or architectural look. So I will add a reveal. I will call here reveal brick course 3 bricks. Let's make it 3 bricks. And the distance here from the base will be 5 feet. And sometimes you need to play with the values so you see the like what are these distances measured from. But for the setback here, I will set it to 1 inch. And then if I say apply, this is kind of, it's a block, a void block that eats out of the material of the wall. So we'll see what do I mean by that. But if I say okay, all right, apply. So this is the cap that I added, and this is the reveal. You see, it's currently like a like when you don't highlight it, it's void. So it's eating out of the wall exterior, right? And it's three blocks, so like 3 block height of the pattern of the brick that you have. So this is an example of editing the details of a family, just taking a wall as an example. And this is just a start for you to experimenting with families. So feel free to pick another wall, start maybe from with a generic wall, and make your own 5 inch generic, make your own layers in it. So try to play with this. Thank you, and I will see you.